Hey guys, Cheri from The Watering Mouth here. I'm doing a what I eat in a day to lose weight video today. This is how I eat on a normal basis, but also I've been in weight loss mode lately. That's been going really well. I think the last time we talked I was at 135 and I am down to 124 now, which is only 4 pounds away from my happy place, and I think I'm gonna probably go down to 110 or 115 as a lifetime goal, but I'm not sure exactly. My body's gonna tell me what a good weight is for me, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. But 124 is awesome. It's 3 pounds under my pregnancy weight, so, and I hit that the day before she turned 9 months, so I was happy to be on a good roll here since I last talked to you guys about this stuff. And so I wanted to share with you what I've been eating to get me here, because this is the kind of set of meals that I tend to always go back to when I'm in weight loss mode. So I wanted to share, and we're gonna start off with my favorite smoothie, which I've talked about a million times before. It is the recipe, all the recipes in this video that I'm doing today are going to be in a PDF, so you guys can download that. I try to do that with almost every video, create some kind of a free PDF. There's gonna be a link for everything I talk about down below in the description or up above, depending on where you're watching this video. So first thing I'm gonna have today, typically what I have when I'm in weight loss mode is a big smoothie and a huge salad, and then maybe some other foods. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but I always start off with this smoothie because I love it, because it's super versatile, and because I can get some really good nutrients in first thing in the day. I can get tons of greens, which is one of the main reasons I love to have it. It's also tons of fiber, and it really does keep me full for several hours, and it's easy. So no matter what I'm doing in the morning, I can always make this smoothie, or in 10 or 15 minutes I just throw it together, and then if I need to take it somewhere, I can take it somewhere. And that's just a lot more convenient than, you know, making a scramble or something like that where you kind of have to sit down and eat it. This is just super portable. And what I love about it is that I can make a ton of it one day and have some of it the next day too. So that way, you know, it saves some time for me. I don't always love smoothies the next day because they oxidize a little bit. They don't taste as great and you lose some of those nutrients, but hey, like, I'm busy, I gotta do what I gotta do, and this is really convenient for me. It's basically this formula. Something sweet, a lot of liquid, a lot of greens, fruit, and then some type of a nut butter, nuts, and then maybe a flavoring. So I'm gonna go through all those different things today and what I'm putting in here specifically. This specific recipe today I'm gonna put in the PDF, and there's lots of variations on this. You can always change up the ingredients as you go and kind of just follow this basic formula. So here we go. We start off with, I'm gonna do 4 dates, and I'm gonna be doing this entire Vitamix, you guys. This is about 70 ounces. And what I usually do is I'll make the full Vitamix. As I said, I like to make a lot so I can have some for the next day. I'll make a 32-ounce smoothie, another 32-ounce smoothie, and then like an 8 or 10-ounce smoothie, and I have different mason jars to fit those specifically. And then I'll put one in the fridge. I'll put the small one and the big one in the fridge, and then I'll drink the other big one for the morning. Then later on in the day for lunch, I'll have a huge salad, like a huge salad, and you'll see how big that is in a little bit. If I have a sweet tooth after that, I'll have just a little bit of that smoothie or the whole smoothie, depending on how big my sweet tooth is. And then for dinner, I usually end up just having the rest of that smoothie, just that sweet tooth part if I hadn't had it for lunch, or I'll make another little smoothie, or I'll have some soup or something like that. For the longest time, I put in a lot more dates in my smoothie, like 6 days or something like that. And what I realized was that that was perpetuating a lot of my kind of addictions. And it wasn't until this year that I realized putting in less dates, of course I don't like the smoothie as much, but when I put in less dates, it makes me way less cravey later on, that day and the next day. Especially in the afternoon. That's like my worst time. After lunch, I'm always like, oh, I need to eat everything. But as long as I just put in 4 dates, these are 4 Medjool dates and no more, my cravings have been a lot less. I also think it has something to do with the fact that I've been really doing well and getting a lot of nutrients into my body. When we get tons and tons of nutrients in our body, these micronutrients from greens and different things like that, our cells are detoxing properly. They can actually clear out wastes and do the things that they're supposed to do more efficiently. So when you actually are getting in all of these things, as well as not too much of the addictive things like flour and sugar and stuff like that, this combination of things is really physiologically what helps you have less cravings. It's not about like, oh, I'm craving something cheesy, so that must mean I'm deficient in calcium. That's like not a thing. That's not real. It really is about this entire plethora, this entire symphony of nutrients that we need to have at all times to help our body fuel the processes that it's supposed to do naturally. And the more and more micronutrients we get, variety, not just one, you know, vitamin or one mineral or something. It's not that. It's the variety of all these different things that we put into our bodies that really helps us to not be so cravey, because then we don't need a bunch of things. Our body's not going like, oh my god, just generally feed me whatever, you know. So what I typically start off with will be the 4 dates, and then I'll get a bunch of romaine. I'll usually do 8 or 9 of these, but usually bigger ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'll just put 10 in today. And these don't look like there's too many bugs on them, so I'm just gonna put them in. Typically, like, I may run some water over them just to kind of, you know, get some of the bugs out, but there really isn't any bugs in this one, and or dirt. And it's organic, and I'm lazy sometimes, so full disclosure, this is what I do sometimes, just put the greens in. So you can see this is already more than, like, the Vitamix is full here. This is always how my smoothies go. I always have to blend the romaine first because I put in so much, and then I put in my cruciferous. So I typically will put in like 1 or 2 cups almond milk. Today I'm gonna put in 1.5 or something like that. I can't really tell because the date's already in there, but I'll put in like 1.5. Put the almond milk in, and then I have to blend it first to get more space in there. Okay, so now I'm gonna put something cruciferous in. I always do something that's a little bit more mild, like romaine, or you could do spinach or something like that. I don't do spinach because I form kidney stones, and spinach is bad for kidney stones. So if you are a kidney stone former, I would avoid spinach. But only 1 in 10 people will ever form a kidney stone no matter what they eat. So you probably don't have an issue with it. So I always put something cruciferous in, and that means those are, you know, some of the best cancer fighting type veggies out there. So it's pretty much usually kale, because kale is like the mother of all amazing vegetables out there. But if I don't have kale, I'll always just put in whatever I have that's cruciferous. So it could be broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage I love to put in, stuff like that. And this is the same kind of deal where typically I don't wash it because I'm lazy, and this helps me speed things up a little bit. But I mean, sometimes I wash it, like for reals, I do sometimes, but today I'm just not. So do it as I say, not as I do. So I'm gonna blend up that kale again. Okay, now if I drank this the way it is, I would probably barf because I do not like the taste of just greens like this, but the rest of the stuff that I put in then makes it so that the flavor is doable for me. And I'm going for nutrients, I'm going for bulk, I'm going for satiety. I'm not necessarily going for amazing flavor with every meal. That's something that I learned over the years of doing this, is that not every single meal has to be a party. It has to be full of nutrients and really give your body what it needs. So you are looking for nutrients and fiber and bulk and satiety. Those are the things you're looking for in a meal. So that's why I only put 4 dates in nowadays, because I found that that's my sweet spot, so to speak, for being able to be fine with eating this many greens in one smoothie, but also to not have too much sweets to where it kind of triggers me a little bit. I found a bunch of strawberries that were on sale because it's summertime, so I'm gonna throw all of these in, but I do rinse berries before I put them in. Okay, so I'm just gonna take this entire thing, put it in. So usually what I'll end up doing at this point is I'll put fruit in, and I'll put fruit in up to about the 7-cup mark. That's just what I tend to do. I feel like that's probably, I usually end up putting in 3 to 5 cups of berries, I think. Berries and cherries. I find that if you get the sweet cherries, they're really nice for adding a little bit of extra sweetness without extra dates. I don't really need any extra berries. I'm just gonna put a tiny bit in, because I usually put a little more, up to about there. And then I'm gonna put in just whatever cherries I have. I would probably typically add a little bit more cherries, let me see, but I'm gonna put banana instead. This is just a half of a frozen banana. So this is typically the amount of fruit that I'll put into my smoothie, you know, up to probably the 8-cup mark. And then I will blend them again, but I put in a bunch of water at this point. I only put in a little bit of almond milk, and then I put in the rest water. I put water up to the level of the fruit, and then I blend. Sometimes if I get a little rambunctious and I put in a little bit too much fruit, it will actually sort of come out the top a little bit. But this one we might be okay. I have only a tiny bit of room left. I probably put in a little bit too much water. That's okay. We're gonna just be brave and push on. So next thing is always nuts. I always put nuts into my smoothie. This is the thing that keeps me full for a long time. It keeps me feeling satisfied with the smoothie instead of being like starved in an hour. This really makes it so that I can have a smoothie and then it keeps me full for like 3 or 4 hours. So the nuts I usually put in some walnuts for the wonderful omega-3s. So what I'll do is usually just, because this is 2 smoothies, I'll take a little handful, like a very small handful like this, put that in. I'll do that twice. So that's kind of 1 handful for each smoothie. And then I'll do a nice scoop of either almond or peanut butter, and I have some freshly ground almond butter here I'm gonna put in. So I just do 1 big tablespoon scoop like this in there. And that really does keep me full. And it's still a decent amount so that I can have some more nuts later in the day, because I tend to not eat a lot of grain. I almost never eat grains, so I tend to have a little bit more nuts during the day because I don't really eat much grains. I also don't really eat much avocado. I do a little bit sometimes. I'm gonna have some today, but then I don't have a ton of Are you done? Okay, so what do I put in for fun then? Usually, I will also put in a spoonful of roasted carob powder. I just love that flavor. I used to always put raw cacao powder in, always. And I loved it for years and years. And because it has too much caffeine for me, I had to start cutting back, because if I would have the smoothie too late into the day, I would be up until like 2 a.m. and I'm just really sensitive to caffeine. So I stopped putting it in and started using carob. And now it turns out I like carob way more than I like cacao powder, which is weird. And I never thought that was possible, because I used to be a total chocoholic completely, and now I'm just really not anymore. Today I'm also going to add a little bit of orange extract. I'm doing this because I just want a little bit of, this is like, I got all down the side so it's all messed up, but I just want a little bit of extra flavor today, and this is just a really nice way to add just a little bit of extra flavor without a ton of extra fruit. So I'm going to just put like a teaspoon in. I almost forgot to mention and put in my flaxseed here. So I always have some ground flaxseed in the fridge. I always try to make sure to put in 2 tablespoons into this smoothie, so I have it in my smoothie for the day, and that way I don't have to worry about my flaxseed. So I'm gonna put 2 in and just blend again really quick, and then I will for real be done with this smoothie. So then I have these 3 mason jars here. These are 32 ounce and these are just the pint ones. And what I'll end up doing is I just fill them both. I'll fill the 32 ounce up to the top almost, and then I'll end up filling the other one almost usually to the top too, depending on how close I get to how close I walk the line on this Vitamix here. And then I'll put the other 2 in the fridge. Now I got these amber colored mason jars the other day. I don't know if it's just a gimmick or if it really works, but they're meant to retain some of the nutrients in the smoothie. I don't know if it works or not, but I just got them anyways because I always leave this one in the fridge overnight, and I just figure I might as well. So I'm gonna put a link for that down below if you're interested in those. You can just use a regular mason jar too. So I put these ones in the fridge. I'm gonna have this one for breakfast. You can just pick up that orange flavor, which is really nice. You can use any kind of flavoring here, coffee flavoring, almond, mint, etc. There's so many different extracts which give a really nice dimension. You've been so patient. So this I'm going to sip, probably gonna have this, the whole thing right now in the next few minutes here. I typically will have this around 8 or 8:30, something like that. And this will last me until about 11 a.m. is when I start to feel a little bit more hunger. But because I feel true hunger, which is a Nutritarian feeling that you kind of feel up here rather than in your stomach. You don't get that irritability, you don't get those crazy hunger feelings anymore. You just kind of, oh, I'm hungry, I need to eat. I can actually wait an hour or 2 or whatever I need to wait until my next meal because it's just a more comfortable feeling for me to get hungry. So this smoothie will last me a few hours, and then I'll start to make lunch around 12, then I'll eat around 12:30 or 1, and we'll be on to our next meal. See you in a bit. Hey guys, all right, it's 1 p.m. and it's time for lunch. I try to wait at least 4 hours between meals, and I know that if I get hungry before 4 hours, then that meal wasn't big enough. So I need to add more unlimited Nutritarian foods to whatever that meal was. So here I am, 1 p.m. I had my smoothie a little bit late today, but I'm just gonna keep on track with this hours. I try to do usually 8 or 9 for breakfast, 1-ish for lunch, and then around 5 or 6 for dinner. And so I'm gonna stick with that so I can feed the kid at the same time. So I'm gonna just make dinner now. So what I'm having for lunch is something I've been having to lose weight for the last few weeks, which is a hot and cold salad. And I just love it so much. I'm not sick of it yet, which is really nice. I have a lot of salads under my belt that I love to sort of switch to when I get sick of one, but this one is still going strong. So I'm gonna show you how I make it. Generally, it's just greens with a huge stir fry on top, some type of a low-calorie veggie stir fry on top with tons of really, really great vegetables. And it's cups and cups of food, so I'm going to show you how I make it. Oh, what I do usually is I make the stir fry first. I'll make the stir fry first, and then I will have tons of it in the fridge so I can just warm that up and throw it over salad for the rest of the week. So I'm gonna make, today is the day that I have to make the stir fry, so let's make it. Okay, so lately I've been using a big wok. I really like the way that woks heat all around, and so you can kind of spread things out and get more surface area this way. I'm starting off by cooking a bunch of red onions, some cauliflower, and red pepper. I start off with sort of the harder vegetables first, then I'm gonna add the softer vegetables, which in this case is gonna be zucchini and tomatoes. And if I had some mushrooms, I would certainly put mushrooms in too. I'll probably add those later on in the week. Okay, now because you guys are accustomed to my being very honest on my channel, I'm going to explain what happened here. While I was cooking, I was chopping all the vegetables, and I had this pan here of oatmeal. I had made some oatmeal for my daughter this morning. It's just rolled oats with some almond milk and almond butter, I think it was. And I set it aside so it could cool off, and it was totally cool by the time I started cooking. And I was really hungry when I started cooking, and so I just had one little nibble of the oatmeal. I would say there was probably a cup or a cup and a half in this pot here. And one little nibble turned into the entire pot while I was cooking. So I want to just fess up to this. This happens to me, and I'm not very good at resisting things when they're pre-made and easy to grab and, you know, full of carbs or sugar or whatever it is. This didn't even have any sugar in it. It was just oatmeal and almond butter. But I'm not very good at resisting that kind of stuff, and what I should have done was, as soon as it cooled off or before I started cooking, I should have put it straight into the fridge. Then I would have been able to resist it. It wouldn't have been a problem. But because it was sitting right there, I just kept taking little nibbles. By the time you knew it, it was completely gone, and not one of my prouder moments, but this kind of thing happens to me. And for me, it's not that big of a deal because I don't really need to lose a bunch of weight right now. I'm at a healthy weight, so an extra cup of grains isn't a problem for me. I'm not gonna lose weight tomorrow, right? Like, I'm not gonna end up losing weight because of the extra grains that I had, and I know what my limits are as far as what to eat in order to lose weight or not. But just to note that this happens to all of us. I'm still at a place where I'm susceptible, and I probably will always be at a place like this where I'm susceptible to things that are really easy to grab. So take care of yourself and make sure you don't, you know, have things out that are really easy to grab, like some cashews nearby or some of those crackers your husband was eating last night or whatever it is. You know, you have to sort of be careful with yourself. So I'm not even really that hungry for lunch anymore, but I'm still gonna show you what I would have had if I was gonna have this whole salad, which I probably will still have the salad, but I'll have it for dinner instead. Okay. So my stir fry is almost done cooking, and it makes a ton here. I also wanted to note how much water it gives off, which is really, really awesome because it sort of can act as a salad dressing. And then for me, I only used water, and I haven't put anything else in this but the vegetables. For me, that's totally enough flavor. I really like to have lime juice and avocado on top, and then that is enough flavor for me, but feel free to use some vinegar or anything else that you might really like for a salad dressing. I washed some greens here. I'm using green leaf lettuce today, plus I'm gonna use some baby arugula as well. That's gonna be my base, and then everything else. And I've got some radishes and chopped up sugar snap peas for crunch. All right, time to assemble this salad. So first thing I wanna note is the size of the salad. This is the bowl that I'm using. Can you see how big it is? It's huge. This is a regular cereal bowl. No joke, guys. This is the size salad I'm eating. This is the size salad I always eat. This is a Nutritarian salad, okay? If you think that this is a salad, you're wrong. This is not a salad. This is, well, this is a bowl, first of all, but that size is nothing. That's gonna compact down to like this much food in your stomach. That's not enough to get you through a full meal. But if you make a salad like I'm making, which is literally all vegetables, plus I'm gonna add a little bit of beans here, all vegetables, a little bit of avocado, a little bit of beans, you're only getting a few hundred calories, but you're getting a salad that's gonna fill your belly. I have a lot of my clients, when they come starting to do the Nutritarian thing, they just don't get this. They don't understand, because we're programmed to think portion control, only a certain amount. But if you're eating lettuce and mushrooms and things like that, which are like 8 to 15 calories per cups, I mean, you could have a massive amount of these. You have to trust that as long as you're eating non-starchy vegetables, eat those with abandon. Eat a ton of them. The whole idea of the Nutritarian diet is to crowd out the other foods, so you literally don't have enough space in your stomach for other foods. So that's what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna start with about 5 to 6 cups of greens, and then I'm gonna build from there. When I count greens, I count like how many cups. I count once the salad is sort of chopped. So I chop it down to some really small pieces, and then I would measure. And I want you guys to really actually measure your greens, because if you don't, you're kind of just eyeballing it. Just do it a little bit in the beginning. You don't have to do this forever, but just a few times until you know the size of your bowl, how much to put in that bowl to consider a full salad. And if you don't like salads like this yet, now the thing is, I've been doing this for a long time, so I love the taste of these salads, and you may not pick up the flavor of a salad like this yet. So if you're eating something like this and you're like, oh my God, I could never eat that much salad because I don't like salad that much, cool. Find some other way to season it or make it taste good. Use some Mrs. Dash, use some flavorings. You can use a little bit of Bragg's, you know, liquid aminos. You can use these kinds of things that have tons and tons of flavor, or use vegetables that you love. Throw some fruit in there. Lots and lots of different ways to get lots of flavor in that salad. Now I'm gonna actually measure out. This is my cup here. Okay, so this is actually 6 cups, which is way more than I can eat right now. I know, because I had all that oatmeal, and I was gonna put arugula in here too, but I just don't have space for it. So I'm gonna just leave it like this. It's 6 cups to start. Now look at how much this is in the bowl. It's a lot. Now imagine you chewed all this really thoroughly, chewed it down, and it's down in your stomach. It's still only gonna take up, you know, that much space maybe, or less after it's all chewed. So that's still not a lot of food. Now you pile on the rest. So all of this, also super low calorie. So I'm gonna pile on at least probably 3 cups worth. Here, let me just measure that out. 1, 2, yeah, I guess about 2 cups is about what I usually do. Maybe I'll do like a little bit more. Like 2 1/4 cups, something like that. Okay, so now I have the salad. The way I like to assemble it from here goes, I add raw stuff on top. So I like to have a mix of raw and cooked tomatoes, just because of the nutrients. You get better nutrients from cooked tomatoes, and I just love the flavor of raw tomatoes nowadays because it's the middle of summer. So I'm gonna add those to the top. Then I'm gonna add in my radishes and my, excuse me, snap peas. Then I added a quarter of an avocado. Usually I do half of an avocado, but because I had all that oatmeal, I'm just gonna do a quarter. And then some freshly squeezed lime juice on top. All right, last but not least, I wanna add some beans. So I opened a can of garbanzo beans. I'm just gonna add like a half a cup in there. Then I'm just gonna take a little bit of these pumpkin seeds, and that's gonna be it. Just want to have some seeds or nuts on any salad that you eat to help with the absorption of the nutrients from the greens. And that is it for my salad, guys. Now I know what you're thinking, haha, that is it. That was like a million steps and a lot of things. Yeah, for sure. But all I do is make this stir fry one day, right? I just have to make it one day, and this is gonna last me for several days. So then when I'm going to cook, when I'm going to make my lunch, all I do is just rinse the greens off, and then I chop up a couple of things real easily. And I don't even really use a knife for this stuff. I use a mandolin slicer. I use this thing. I'll put a link for this down below. This makes it really easy to just slice radishes and the sugar snap peas and stuff like that just real quick. Just throw the avocado in, lime juice, and it's done. I can heat up the veggies if I want, or I can have them cold. It is a massive salad, you guys, clearly so much. I can't eat it right now. All of it at least. I'm gonna have some of it now, but I'm gonna have the rest for dinner because I had that oatmeal. But this amount of food, as you can see, is gonna compact down to really a lot of food in your stomach. So you can certainly get a full meal that's nutritarian without having to worry about if you know, are gonna get hungry later or whatever. I'm telling you, this type of a salad will last for hours and hours and hours in your stomach. Hey guys, next day Cheri here with an update about the salad. Just wanted to mention I changed a couple things. I added corn to the salad, and I had forgotten that's something I always add because I really love that pop of sweetness, just a little bit. You could also do the same thing with fruit, as I mentioned before. I also always put mushrooms, and I just didn't have any, so make sure you do that. And then the other thing is I forgot raw onions when I made it yesterday. I was a little out of sorts because I didn't have a babysitter, and I had the child running around like crazy and me trying to do this video at the same time. So I forgot to add raw onions, but I always add raw onions. Now the flavor of this with the corn and with the onions is really what kicks it up a notch for me. So I really love this. You could also add maybe even a little bit of chopped Kalamata olives, just a little bit because they're super salty, and some other things that are really yummy would be like a chopped apple or anything like that. So give it a try. I'm gonna put these changes in the recipe that I put in the PDF. And what happened for the rest of the day, so I did end up having that entire salad around, I think it was around 3 or 4 p.m. I added a tiny bit of chopped up Kalamata olives. I think I did 4 or 5 olives chopped up for a little bit of extra flavor in there. And then for dinner, so to speak, I ended up having the rest of that smoothie. It ended up being around 6 or 8 ounces, and then that was it to get me through, and I felt really good. I know I didn't weigh myself, but I know I didn't lose any weight because I ended up having that cup of oatmeal, and for me, too many grains leads to not any weight loss, so that was fine. But had it been a normal day with weight loss, I would have had the smoothie in the morning, the big huge salad around 1 or 2, and then I would have had the smoothie around 5 or 6, the leftover, and that would have been good for weight loss. Okay guys, well I hope you enjoyed this what I eat in a day. I know I had fun doing it for you, and on a typical day where I didn't have a bunch of oatmeal, that would be plenty to get me through the day. If you needed a little bit more food during the day, you could do a little bit of soup, like a cup or 2 of soup, or a bunch of steamed vegetables in the evening or something like that. Maybe not super fun, but the soup is really delicious. So you could do something like that and really get in some good flavors and vegetables and wonderful nutrients to keep yourself full and lose weight. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Sorry I didn't get completely perfect on this day, but this was just a dose of real life and what it's really like for me. Moo came by to say hello. Sorry my house is a mess. Hope you guys are good. Let me know what you think down below. What are your favorite go-to meals when you are trying to lose weight, if you have some, or what did you think about these ones? Let me know down in the comments, and please check me out on Patreon if you like this kind of stuff. I would really appreciate your support. I'm gonna put a link for that down below as well. If you wanna see more of these videos come out, that is the way to ensure that they will. All right, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.